Oh no, my belly. That'd be a problem, isn't it? I wouldn't want to distract you from the video. Here, see my sock. If you want the secret to be invisible to lack and scarcity, here it is. Lack and scarcity must be invisible to you. Now, what does this mean? It means you build the habit of focusing on all the abundance that is already present in your life. And you stop focusing on the lack. Because here's the deal. The universe is perfectly balanced between negativity and positivity. There's infinite abundance everywhere. There's infinite lack everywhere. Even if you're in the worst of situations, there is still something that can be gained. However, because we are a slave to this animal body, we are programmed by default to focus on the negative, so that is what we experience. So we just experience more of it and more of it until we just either grind so hard that we escape our circumstances or just die. But this is the secret to transcend your current circumstances or any problem in your life. Because here's the deal. Your mind is a very powerful tool. It's your creative wand. It's like your God wand, except for it's got a low battery. So you got this wand and you're waving it all over the place and you're creating things all the time. Because energy is your creative power and your mind is a tool that directs that energy. Where attention goes, energy flows. So just remember this, you always create more of what you focus on. So the more you focus on lack and scarcity, the more you're going to create it. And then you're going to get in this feedback loop of feeling bad about it, thinking bad about it, and creating more, getting stuck. But all it is a habit. We have been conditioned to focus on negativity. So we have to uncondition ourselves to focus on what is good all the time. Because the good is always there. You see, it doesn't matter if your circumstances are telling you, hey, you're living in lack and scarcity. It doesn't even matter if you have worry and fear and doubt. What matters is how much you feed these things. Because all the feelings are temporary, all the thoughts, all the circumstances are temporary changing things. And if you allow them to change by default, you don't feed them, they just go away. And abundance becomes your natural state. And over time, you couldn't even be in lack and scarcity if you wanted to. I don't know why you would do that. That is when you become invisible. And it becomes so much easier to receive all that you desire. But because we've never learned how to use this tool, well, we're not very good at it. Like, think about it. If you were an artist, or if you had a paintbrush, would you automatically be able to paint a masterpiece? I don't think so. It takes training. So you're not meant to be good at it. In fact, you're meant to be bad at it, and then become good by training yourself. One of the best ways we can do this is by surrendering to the present moment. You see, life can only be experienced in the present moment, and life is the source of all abundance. So what happens is that as you're going throughout your daily life, and maybe there's fear or worry or whatever, you just practice remaining in the present moment and abiding in your own natural radiance, the presence that you already are. And what you will experience is that an inner satisfaction arises, peace arises, because in this present moment there are no problems. Only when we think about the problems and look out at our world are we reminded, oh yes, I'm dealing with this. But when you just close your eyes and relax and surrender and stop holding onto these psychological stories, this inner contentment arises. And contentment and satisfaction is abundance. And strong desire and needing and desperation is lack and scarcity. So you learn to just rest in the present moment, enjoy your own being, and now you're open to receive all that you desire. Because the more you give off the energy of desperation, the harder it is to receive anything. And we have to pay attention and snap out of it, because we'll always kind of return back to this idea like, where are my results? Why isn't it working? And then realizing, waking up and, no, this is lack and scarcity again. And all we have to do is stop feeding those stories. Stop feeding those stories of why aren't I getting what I want? Why does my life suck? Why do I hate everything? Or whatever. Like if you have a poopy job that you have to go through every day, and you don't like it, there's two options. You can continue getting stuck in your psychological drama about how much you don't like it, or you can learn to remain present. You stop judging yourself, you stop judging reality, and you just begin observing things with a sense of detachment. Or with slight amusement. Well, interesting. Now that creates a massive shift in your energy. So what this entails, like Mr. Mouse, we want to stop living so much from ego, which is desire and attachment. And we want to start living from the state of presence. As I say after every video, just be. This is what it means. And this is why I say it. It's because in this state of presence, you feel free and you feel at peace and you feel inner contentment. And you're no longer so much getting pulled all over the place by things. Not your thoughts, not your circumstances. But it takes time to build this habit. Because we spent our whole lives following the thoughts. So naturally, our attention gets pulled into our thoughts. And that messes up our energy, because now we're getting pulled all over the place. We're reacting to things. But the more you train yourself to just rest in the present moment, the easier it becomes to not react, because you're more not attached. You're connecting to the part of you that is your highest nature, that is already free. It doesn't have any problems. It doesn't struggle with lack and scarcity. It is the source of all abundance. So instead of trying to change your life and fix things, you only want to connect to the part of you that isn't dealing with those problems. The part of you that is the source of abundance. And the deeper you connect with this, the more your outer reality changes, because now you've stabilized in a new energy and you allow far more harmony to enter into your life. And all the problems you were dealing with before, over time, they eventually just fall away naturally, without you as the ego needing to get your dirty little hands in everything, trying to fix it all. Life does all the heavy lifting, naturally, by default. But when we live from the ego state, the ego's got the wheel. The problem is the universe is very big, the world is very large, and the ego is very small. So it's a heavy burden. We feel like, oh, I have to do everything. We say, I'm responsible for everything. So it stresses us out. And often what happens is that we fail, because living from ego is a very limited state of consciousness. There's only so much we can do. Another element of the ego is control, trying to control every aspect of your life. And again, it's just a habit of learning to stop holding on so hard. Like, for example, you really want to escape your current circumstances, or something that's not going the way you want it to. So there's this natural inclination to try and force things to be the way you want. So you do more, you work harder, because you think that it's your efforts that are going to change the situation. And if you do not control, there's this fear that nothing is going to change. But until you realize that nothing bad's going to happen by surrendering control, you're never going to give it up. But once you realize that that is the path, surrender is the path to actually being able to receive and for your problems to actually go away, well, then it becomes easier and easier to give up control. But there's a little bit of like a leap of faith that has to happen. You have to realize that by giving up control, nothing bad's going to happen. And that doesn't mean you still don't do stuff. It just means that psychologically, you're detached from the outcome of the situation. It's basically saying, life is going to happen the way it happens, and I accept that. I am just going to do what is in front of me, and everything's going to work out perfectly. But people who try and control things say, things need to happen exactly the way I think they should happen. And if they don't, I'm going to be upset. Someone's going to get fired. The actions may still be the same. It's just the psychological state in which we're living. So I like to say, things are only heavy when you pick them up and you can let them go. This is what keeps us stuck. Our desire to control everything. Our desire for certain outcomes or attachments. And oftentimes, until life becomes so overwhelming that we just can't take it anymore, do we finally surrender and say, okay, I give it up. And when you say, I give up, God says, let's begin. Because life cannot help you. God cannot guide you if you are trying to control everything. And eventually, what you find is that it was just the ego the whole time messing everything up. Sometimes we get angry at life and say, why is this happening to me? God, why have you done this? You have given me hemorrhoids again? Not realizing that it's all just us. We're the cause of everything. Because think about the flow of energy between these two ways of being. When you're attached to the ego, your energy is being flown toward not having enough, wanting more, needing things to change. But when you live from presence, when you just be, now your energy is protected. It's not getting pulled all over the place anymore. And your energy naturally becomes that of peace and freedom and abundance. And life becomes far more effortless for you. The only effort that ever comes into play is when the ego rears its little head and says, here I am, I'm back. Pulls us out of the present moment and focuses us on all kinds of nonsense. So whenever you find the ego causing you to worry and to have fear and your thoughts are going all over the place and your circumstances aren't what you want them to be, in that moment is when you practice. You practice letting go of control, saying, what am I going to do? I can't do nothing. Because in this moment, there's only one thing you can do. You can only do what's in front of you. But if you start thinking about, how many weeks in the future, well, you have no control over that. It's just futile rumination, does nothing but ruin your life. And the more you build the habit of returning to the present moment and relaxing and letting go of control, the easier it becomes. Like anything, you have to train your mind to stop grasping so much at things. And you do this by no longer feeding all of this mind drama. And because your ego feeds on your energy, your thoughts feed on your energy, they cannot survive without it. So it doesn't matter if the thoughts come and the desires come and the resentment or the anger or whatever it is. In that moment, all you have to do is not feed it any more than necessary. And the attachments fall away by themselves. And over time, you stabilize in this presence, in the moment. You stabilize in the energy of abundance, because now you're naturally content and satisfied. So be patient with yourself, my friend. You're not supposed to have it all figured out. We spent all of our lifetime following and living from our thoughts. So it takes some time to stop it. And naturally, for the human being, letting go of control is uncomfortable. But we have to learn how to trust and have faith that life is already taking care of us. Did you not hear what Jesus said? He said, look at the flowers and look at the birds. God takes care of them. How much more would God take care of you? But we sabotage our blessings by getting in the way as the ego, by allowing our fears to take the wheel and feeding them and not realizing that there's nothing that you need to do. You, like a little baby, all you have to do is be as you are and you're already taken care of. And once you learn how to live from this space, that is when you become invisible to lack and scarcity. I am Ray. Find your tribe down below. Much peace and many blessings. And remember, just be.